So check it out here. You're looking live at the White House, where in just moments from now, President Trump and Indian Prime Minister Modi are set to hold a news conference. And while we wait for that, let's talk about the Democrats who cried Musk. Former Congressman Dean Phillips trying to warn his party that the collective freakout over the world's richest man and self-proclaimed DOGE father could destroy their credibility in the long run. Watch this.
Unfortunately, Democrats are only focused on one thing right now, Mr. Musk. The fact of the matter, he's quite popular. We're missing the boat as Democrats. And all I'm saying is that sometimes it's better to join them and actually play a role in how the strategy works rather than so pathetically, frankly, try to combat something that clearly is a steamroller and Democrats are being steamrolled. I think Democrats should join the club and then have more credibility to actually raise the alarm about constitutional issues. Right now, it's the boy who cried wolf.
But Dean Phillips might as well be shouting into the void of that limestone mountain of paperwork. Democrats name-dropping Musk at two different events. First, in a House hearing on USAID. That's an agency that DOGE gutted. And another rally outside the Department of Veterans Affairs. Watch here.
You can't spell felon without Elon.
Trump and Musk like to say, we're reading out fraud, waste, and abuse. We're looking at efficiency. That's a dog whistle.
Elon Musk ripped up the Constitution and our system of checks and balances.
The Trump administration and unelected billionaire Elon Musk have led a reckless and illegal attack on USAID.
9 million veterans are watching you give them the middle finger, and we're not going to stand for it.
President Trump revealing DOGE's next target while providing the group some cover.
I think that the Internal Revenue Service will be looked at like everybody else. Just about everybody's going to be looked at. So it's they're doing a hell of a job. It's an amazing job they're doing. I call it the force of super geniuses, but it's building. And, you know, they go up and they talk to some of the people about certain deals, and the people get all tongue-tied. They can't talk.
Judge, it's hard to understand why the Democrats are so mad at Elon Musk. He voted for Obama. He created the best electric car, which they purport to love. He can't run for president. He's doing things for free. And they just think that he is enemy number one.
Well, I think it just goes to show you that it's all about politics for them. And the sad part about that statement is that it ignores the American people. I mean, we finally have someone who is willing to take a look at all of the fraud, the waste, and abuse in our government and in the bureaucracy. And as opposed to applauding that and saying, great, this is going to benefit the American people who pay through taxes through the nose, instead they say they're only focused on how horrible Elon Musk is or how horrible Donald Trump is. And I think it's very frustrating because to me, it's disappointing, Harold, that the Democrats are not appreciative of this kind of thing, because in the end, you still have Fetterman, Hakeem Jeffries, James Carville, Dean Phillips. I mean, these guys, even Hakeem Jeffries is saying we've got to find common ground with them on something. But, you know, they ignored the history of the Clinton presidency when they fired 400,000 people, bureaucrats, and they called it the National Partnership Reinventing Government to make the federal government less expensive. And it was Obama who pledged to do the same in 2011. So all this does is it comes down to hate. It's like, you know, when you get divorced, you hate the other person so much you don't care if it hurts the kids.
And then we're actually going to talk about Department of Education a little bit too, because that's supposedly about kids. I found out today that Bernie Sanders was the chairman of the Education Committee for 4 years. Under Biden, had one hearing on education the entire time, and then they go and complain. Hey, Harold, what do you think about these protests that are a throwback? Are they having any effect?
I don't. First of all, good to be with you again. I don't think so. I think that Dean Phillips is largely right. I think the judge is as well. I tried to say yesterday, and perhaps I didn't say it as clearly as I wanted to. There's a time for outrage, and then there's a time to assess impact. The outrage for Democrats should have ended when the election ended. There were so many awful things said about President Trump. He said some awful things about Democrats, but I think Democrats said more awful things about him. And the instinct to want to try to work with him, I think, is the right instinct. So the outrage is there. You now got to look at the impact. The country, no one has ever won office saying, elect me, I will grow government, I will grow the debt, and I will make it unrecognizably large. Anyone that tries to do that has lost. Democrat presidents, you mentioned it, and I like your Valentine's Day red, Judge. You mentioned how these Democrats that Obama wanted to cut, Clinton wanted to cut during reinventing government, and no one ever did. The thing I would urge Democrats to do, as opposed to standing outside and singing and being so critical, if you're going to be critical, you have to answer what Elon Musk, who is a popular guy, and Donald Trump, who just won an election and has a 53% approval rating, counter their cuts with other cuts. Senators Cassidy and Britt today, in the last 24 hours, have said, look, Senator Cassidy said, cutting medical funding is not going to help LSU. We're from a red state, and we don't. Our tax dollars, we get back more tax dollars. Senator Britt said you can't cut medical funding as well. These are the kinds of things you should be focused on, as opposed to the yelling and the kind of scattered outrage that seems to afflict the party. I'm a believer that the reason that Elon Musk is able to do this, I say to Democrats in Congress and Republicans, the reason he's able to usurp your responsibilities, because you haven't exercised oversight responsibility in so long, and you haven't been a budgeting body in so long. You go through shutdowns and defaults. That's the only language that comes from Congress. If you want to take back this responsibility, hold the hearings. Identify cuts that you would impose as opposed to the ones the president's talking about. And with that, Your Honor, that's my opening argument.
All right. We will continue on then. The federal government,
I
Jesse,
rest my face.
federal government less popular than ever. So the question kind of is, if not now, when would you try to cut it?
It's got to be now, Dana. Can I tell you a story about Robin Dunn Marcos?
I would love to.
Robin Dunn Marcos worked for these two nonprofits, International Rescue Committee and the Church World Service. She leapfrogs over to the Biden administration to work for HHS, the refugee office, the one that lost all the little kids. And then she steers $1 billion to the two nonprofits that she used to work for. That's how this whole game works. We're finding out HHS under Joe Biden spent $22 billion on migrants. $22 billion. And it's not just these little tent cities. They were buying them cars. They were helping them own homes. They were paying off their credit cards. How'd they get a credit card? I don't know. They were buying college tuition. They were giving them startup money to start businesses, Harold.
And they were me. Yeah. No, Harold's being good today.
So far. These are the kind of things we're spending money on. We are staging hamster fight clubs, Dana. We're putting dead turtles on treadmills. Now, I know what happens when you put anything dead on a treadmill. It just flops right off. I've watched videos on YouTube of this before. They've injected puppies with cocaine.
What?
Now, the cocaine was pure. The puppies wanted to be injected, but it doesn't make it right, Dana. They were sticking marbles into cats' anuses and then electroshocking them. These are the kind of
when did that happen?
Who's doing this?
wicked experiments that the government is using your taxpayer on.
Oh.
There's more.
What was the point of the marbles?
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't ask me. I don't have
be a
this type
point?
of fetish. They spent $3 million for the Department of Education to write a report to say that no one reads reports.
Right. Exactly.
How
That's
about
a good
this?
one.
$50 million to the Climate Justice Alliance, who believes that climate justice travels through a free Palestine.
Yeah.
Do you know what that means? I don't know what that means, Dana. They spent 25 grand for shrinks for trans refugees in Greece. Now, if you're in the trenches, like we are in cable news, we've been doing this a long time.
Yep.
This is like free money, okay? I can come out and I can read this every day of the week. It doesn't matter what the Democrats say. They have to defend this. And I haven't seen one single Democrat on any of these shows defending any of these kooky projects. And every day we read this stuff and expose it, and they're not saying anything or defending it, they're losing. And they've lost every single day since DOGE started up.
That's a good point, because the Democrats are demanding more transparency. I'm not against it, but the more there's transparency, the more kinds of things like that you find.
Well, all I know is when I get home, I'm cleaning my marbles.
Oh.
So Dean Phillips stepped out of the prison of two ideas, where Harold lives. You know, it's the next step in the gradual enlightenment that the Democrats must pursue, but most of them aren't. Right now, for these Democrats, their only hope is that things go bad for Trump. And you can see that already in the press as they're looking at the price of eggs. But for bad things to go for Trump, then things have to go bad for America, because his entire plank is America first. So it's a terrible hope to have. You know, it doesn't really clear a path for a new vision when you just hope that things will go wrong. And they're still clinging to this fantasy that if Trump fails, then they can return to what exactly? There's nothing there. Woke is dead. Identity politics is dead. DEI is dead. Open borders is dead. CNN, MSNBC, all of legacy media is dead, dead, double dead. Trump may well hit a snag at some point, but that's not going to solve the Democrats' bigger and greater problem. What do you stand for? It can't be everything that's not Trump, because he's the common sense president. You can't be the not common sense president. You can't be the not America first president or not America first party. You know, we're wacky and weird. America last. We want big government and bigger trans. It's not going to fly. So I think Harold hit on it, probably by accident, that this is, they got to be for something. They got to think about it. And their argument about accountability is hysterical, because they say Musk has no accountability. Well, duh. That's why he's doing this. He's not an elected official. He doesn't owe anybody anything. And he's holding you accountable. And the people who voted for Trump voted for DOGE, and they're going to hold them accountable. They expect them to hold you accountable. The bottom line is you can't undo the undoing. The undoing has started. You can't put the dish back together after it fell off the hutch, as my mom used to say, when she would throw dishes at me. I'm done. But that was good, I think.
It was brilliant.
It was great.
All
Thank
of it. Really,
But
Harold.
I meant what I said, though. I didn't accidentally get on the dog.
All right, up next, it's Tariff Thursday. President Trump unleashing the trade tool he says will level the playing field with the world.